Today I'm going to talk with my good friend Mark about the second episode in season 2 of Star Trek Picard. First of all, welcome back again, Mark. How are you?
I'm fine, thank God, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I think we have a lot to catch up to, but
No problem. We are living in a great time for the people who love Star Trek, and it's very impressive how many new material we have to process nowadays.
yeah, so let's talk about Star Trek Picard. I must say, when they pronounce the shenanigan of time travel, I had my doubts. Seeing episode 2, I was thinking, oh, okay, this might be working.
Well, time travel is the theme for this new season. We know that about for a long time. The teasers were telling about, and we see the overture of the series is very impressive. It shows literally the time slingshot maneuver that is demonstrated in there in an artistic way. You see a little ship warping space and making that very elegant curve around the sun, and that image you see a sand glass over it. So it's more representative of time. It's impossible. We see things like this since the series, the time tunnel. So it's very interesting. We were prepared for time travel, but we know that when they are speaking about Picard, a Star Trek series, this is a very serious time travel thing.
Yeah, and of course, with Q being back, everything can happen.
I remember, I don't remember if I told you, I was imagining that Q will appear young and look at Picard old, and he will snap his fingers and get old too. Well, that was exactly what happened. It
Yes, that
was
was so
destiny.
funny!
You remember I told that to you.
Yeah.
So
Now
that
you're
happened.
telling me again, yeah?
That was the logic way for Q to appear old too. So I was waiting for that and happened. Well, we one thing I didn't wanted or expected was the fact that Isa Briones is not in the cast now. Soji has had problems solved, and she's not there. You see the cast, you see the overture of the series. You don't see her name yet, and we saw her in the trailers. Yeah, she was posing like to photos or something like that. I don't know,
Now you
but
were
the
talking
fact,
about Isa. What I was very surprised at is that her real dad was playing in this episode as well. He
as
played the magistrate of and the husband of Annika, the
oh
president.
really?
Yeah,
Is
that's the
he
that's her real dad.
that that guy is her dad?
Yeah, that's her real dad.
Well, I have a news for her. Her dad is dead.
Oh my god.
So that's the third episode. Let's stay on the second. So
Yeah, we see, of course, that Q brings him back in a whole nother timeline, and we see a very dark Picard. And I had to watch this scene with when Q brought Picard to his, well, like study ready room down, and with all those skulls and all those
yes,
weapons, you see a very dark side of Jean-Luc we never would imagine.
well, Jean-Luc Picard, he made his homework, in any reality. So
Mm-hmm.
this is not a mirror universe. This is our universe. So
Yeah, yeah.
a single change in the past, changing the cultural main things in Earth. So we are still about to discover what was it and why it was so important. And as we know, it will be a very simple thing, like I go into a children's park and move a rock 1 meter to the right, so a kid don't don't fall over there and don't die. So that can change everything. We learned that in the city near of Forever,
Mm-hmm.
old episode that makes it was our first big lessons about the butterfly effect. So we are now dealing with this thing again, and we know that's a temporal fact, but no one can test that or make experience for that because we can't travel. We still can't do time travel. So we can't prove that each decision we make a new universe is formed. We can't prove that the butterfly effect, that that time butterfly effect. So you can change the future from something you do now. So physics still needs much more information about that. But it's very comfortable to be here and and deal with this kind of information. Uh, I, I I am quite sure that the Picard team have lots of things to do.
Yeah, indeed. And if we see also when and that was, well, I don't want to say creepy, but when the Borg Queen came on the La Serena and she blowed up in a way the Stargazer. That was the Stargazer, by the way. I loved the Stargazer new refit. I don't know
I
what your
love it
opinion.
too.
I really loved it. It was so sentimental, and also when Picard went beamed down for the first time on Stargazer refit,
Yes,
he was saying, "Oh, I'm home again. My life is in a circle now," and you could see he became emotional in a way.
yes. That was a very interesting week for him. We are talking about the first episode, where we 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 see people, his closest friends, thinking more about not the warrior Picard, not the explorer Picard, not the leader Picard, not the admiral Picard, but the man Picard, the synthetic man, synthetic man Picard, that also have a heart. So people are more worried about how does he deal with his own heart. Laris tried to reach his heart.
Yeah.
She's now a widow, and I am sorry for Japan too. And she tried to reach his heart, so he didn't allow it. And now even Guinan uh, give him some advice about that. So no problem with that. He didn't try anything because
That was the old Garden we know from TNG.
yes, yes, she's just a little plus size, but no problem. We love her same way. I love Guinan in any version. I love that
Mm.
actress. She's wonderful. Really love that.
So
So
what was your first thoughts when you saw 7 of 9 without her implants?
well, it was the same. This must be the same reaction of her. At first, she was frightened, and I can see that she was also a little disappointed because those implants that she had gave her a lot of advantage. She used it very nicely since
Mm.
Voyager. She knew how to use those implants, and I'm quite sure that gave her a little more accuracy in her in her way to fight, in her way to study, in her way to understand the universe, because they are sensors, they are sense and feelings that one can have whiteboard than simply with humans. But in the other side, she was extremely calm with the new Annika, because she was simply human. She was not
Mm-hmm.
carrying anything else, and to be only human is very, very, very comfortable. And she is feeling the both sides of this coin.
What do you think about the new Borg Queen?
A newborn queen. Well,
Yeah,
you speak from the first or the second episode.
the one in Picard itself.
Well,
Because it's the same actress, of course, but
I know, but the first one
yeah,
that appeared from that ship that invaded the Stargazer, it was one queen. Maybe the same actress, but it was one queen that came
yeah,
from one timeline, and the other was the timeline from our timeline
yeah,
that the evil Picard defeated. He
yeah.
he not only defeated the Borg or the Queen, but the whole race. There's no Borg anymore anywhere. So as he said, a good galaxy is a human galaxy. So you are not fear for anyone, but everyone feared the humans. So it was it was a little paradoxical. But the first queen, the first Borg queen, we practically didn't see even her face, so we
No, and
don't know who she is.
it reminds me from when Giorgio, the
Mm,
Terran Giorgio, went
mm.
visit to the Klingons when she helped Lo and Tyler. That that reminded me of.
That's some similarity about that. She was posing like as a queen. She was posing as someone who has authority, and she was taking the fleet off. She was invading the fleet only because the Stargazer were mounted by design with many Borg components. So once you use components that you don't know everything about it, it can't be used by someone, and that's what's happening. So the second Borg queen, we see someone crippled by Picard. So we have many things to think about it, and I think we will learn more the more episodes we see. Say, what can I say now? She was very surprised at the end of the third episode, but in the second, we were surprised by her condition, her
Mm-hmm.
crippleness, and we will take this second episode to see how confused someone can be if you cut off all she believed, everything she had. She has a big empire, and now she was alone. You can almost be sorry for her.
What I wasn't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to a little bit further in episode 3 now.
Hmm.
In that episode, you really could see, and that is when um, Agnes Giuliati went into her mind to help her recover in who she was. And then Agnes stole knowledge of her, what she knows from the collective. You could see her vulnerability, and I really just had the feeling of, okay, Borg Queen, now it's our turn. You're the one who has off vulnerable, and we have a new weapon now.
Agnes is a very, very good doctor in robotics and technology and things like that. But the way she got in the machine, we don't know if there is anyone uh, with some degree on that. We saw Picard monitoring the progress of assimilation, and we see 90%, 95%, and it started to get faster and faster. Then we know that in this very end moment, the Borg Queen was 88% of, of capability, and Jurati was 100% reigning in her mind. So, some uh, one thing she said was very interesting. The Borg Queens told you did something very, very dangerous and very, very, very. Yes, and she asked, "What did I do?" You impressed me. That was something that surely doesn't happen. One other thing impressive, the Borg Queen has temporal connections. She can talk with Borg Queens from other timelines. Can you imagine how complex can it be? The Borg Queen that came in the first episode cannot be the same one. She may not be the same one from other timeline that we see there. So everybody wants the same thing. We want to fix this. The Borg Queen from the first episode wanted to join Starfleet. Can you imagine that? And the second queen, all she wants is to be a queen again. At, with that potential, she have galactic proportions of danger inside her. So I'm quite sure that she will not survive to the end of the season unless Q intervene again.
I don't know about Q because, of course, we saw in the first episode that was in the second episode. Picard figured out that Q was sick.
Can you imagine what in the universe can make a Q to be sick?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
The guy can do everything, everything he wants. So I believe he may be sick because he wants to be. Remember that episode of Voyager, Death Wish?
Mm-hmm.
In that episode, one Q wanted to die. He was sick of everything a Q can do. He was sick of that life. He was tired. He was bored about that life. Maybe Q is the same way too, but he wants to he wants to choose another way to live this universe. Okay, he's
Yeah.
not suicidal. He may not be suicidal, but he can make a joke to himself.
But I don't know if Q would do that. Yes, he's still playing with Picard, but what I saw is that Q was more serious in a way.
Oh yeah, Q
And
didn't hit Cisco, but Q hit Picard in the face. So
yeah,
that's some difference. Even so, I saw John Delancey speaking about that, and he said, "I am here, Picard. I am here again, and I'm trying to help you. Every time Q appeared to Picard or to Janeway or to Cisco, he wanted to help. He wanted with him in his own style. He wanted to give us opportunities to help ourselves, to learn about that. So it's hard to imagine what he, what is he about now. But we have some episodes to see that.
what I do notion is that in all the Picard's episodes now
Mhm.
from season 2, especially season 2, it's very much a lot of emotions.
Yes.
And for example, if you see in the episode 3
Mm.
that they killed Eleanor, and
Yeah.
what kind of emotion it brings to the whole crew.
Oh, that's graphic.
I love Raffi.
Yeah, we love Rafi. Rafi is the McCoy of this series. The one who say logic, logic, logic. You don't stop to sound to think about that, to say those logic. Spock, do something.
Well, she was we when she I don't want to say buried Eleanor,
Mm.
but in one way she blamed Picard for it, and she was very angry with him, and she is determined to go back in time and restore this.
Yeah, she was Eleanor died after they to came back from the time, and that only made the things worse for Harafi. And she was not only eager to go to the past, but she's now eager to go to the city to find the Watcher, and she's doing a good work for about that. And the Borg Queen also gave some information about that, and the fact that they cured the Borg Queen fixed the ship. I believe it can fly better now. Even Picard tried to contact. We hear his voice coming from Rio's communicator, and that means the ship is okay now. But Raffi still have a long way until she goes avenged about Elnor. I am quite
I
sure that Elnor will be back in the end of this series.
hmm,
Q use Q used to bring everything back uh, uh, after something. Bless you. After something is solved from his riddles.
I think also that the whole situation or with Eleanor is really close to home to Raffi in because of her own son. Her own
Yeah,
son doesn't want to do anything with her, and she sees Eleanor a little bit as her son. And I think the same is for Seven because Seven lost crap. What's his name? Ichab.
each. Well, you can see how much Seven identifies with Rafi. She tries to talk about it, but Rafi said, "Zip it and let's work to talk about it." So you can see Seven is completely uh, 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 sympathetic with that, and Rafi will have his her time to until she opened his his her eyes, her ears, and especially her tears about this matter. Only then she will have some peace about this matter. But I believe she will be very busy in the meantime.
What I had to laugh about is when Jurati steal those um, knowledge from the Borg Queen, how she called that um, document.
Yeah,
And but it was so really her because I must say I don't know what I have to think about Jurati. In one way I like her, and the other way I say she has to be written out. But okay, what's your opinion about her?
Shurati is someone who is carrying a lot of guilt. Of course, she was cleared from the accusations of killing uh, Commander Maddox, Dr. Maddox, and she was serving without knowing to Commodore O. And she did many bad things in the first season, but she's clean about that. She was cleaned by the judge. Not she did not pay anything or be in prison, but anything of those takes you from the guilt. She feels guilty about everything she did, and this is a weight that can make us to change our personality. So you see, she drink a lot. She don't find a way to get to have fun. She had a nice relationship with Rios, and it start already ended. So she has her problems to work on now, and to work about guilt is not easy. You can ask any psychologist to see how one can deal with guilt, and you see Jurati right in the middle of that.
So, what do you think all about that confederation?
Oh, that's a mistake. We need to take care to never happen. You see, we if we do that thing, we will say that Hitler was white. That can never happen. You know, that's a side of humanity. That's a sign. We have this sign inside us. We have this sign that claims for vengeance, that claims for our way to see justice, and our only way to see justice, a very egoistic way to see justice. And there's a there's a universe out there. Each people with their own sense of justice. You imagine it took 7 years from the first conversations about the creation of the federation. It took 7 years of negotiation with some planets to establish some laws that could be shared in common. Can you imagine if mankind simply didn't want to have those homework and start to say, we are the right ones, everyone is the wrong? That has consequences, terrible consequences that we already learned that in here. Every time you try to slave a culture, all we have to think about is how to avoid the revolution, and always you will have revolution. Every time, every people, every person that owned many slaves in Brazil, uh, 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 2 or 3 centuries ago, the most thing they needed to take care was their own lives, because they live it almost alone in the farms, and the farms maybe have 1,000, 2,000 of slaves there. Each one of them is a potential way to kill him. So every time you have an absolutely powerful government like this, you you start to accumulate around you a lot of resistance. You saw in the episode 1 or 2, episode 2, you see Elnor appearing the first time with
Mhm.
a rave of terrorist attempts. There were not terrorists. There were people that wanted to be free for a very oppressive regime. So every time you push from one side with authority, you will be receiving the same proportion of resistance against you. So so you need to be very wise about that, and that's what federation is about, and not confederation.
What do you think the Watcher is? What do you think we can expect from him or her?
Well, the watcher is someone who is familiar with what's happening. He doesn't. If he is called watcher, he is not from here. He is watching something for someone else. And I saw in the trailer someone very looking like Brent Spiner holding a card, a metallic card that has an internal form like a combination for a key. That must be the watcher. He must be wearing some technology that can only be followed by the tricorder of Rafi. They are on it now.
They were
And
speculating about that, yeah.
yeah,
That
that it's only speculation. The only thing I know that the watcher have a key, and that key it's important for something else. We will see that more of that in the fourth, fifth, But for now, it's just a speculation.
I must quite say, when the Borg Queen went take over the ship and get them to another time, like of 2024, I said to my partner, "Wow, this Borg Queen is very creepy, even more creepier than Allison, who played in in TNG and in the movies, the Borg Queen."
Yes, because she is crazy. The Borg Queen is crazy. She's too hurt. She desperately wants legs. Can you imagine that? She wants legs. She wants her kingdom back again.
Hmm.
And the best way she can do that is to go back in the past and even to contact the actual Borg. In that time, it will give her legs again and
Yeah,
to
she was demanding a lot of Picard.
yeah.
Of,
But
I want this, I want that, I want this, and
yeah,
then I
because
will help you.
you only do that when you think you have the advantage, you have information he wants, if you have something to negotiate and something people desperately want that, and she knows that.
And
She
then Jurati came and she said, "You really think so, Borg Queen? I have this, this, and this."
and Jurata said, "Are you sure?"
Oh my God, you know,
Every queen falls in front of a very better player. There's always a bigger fish.
that was the first time we actually see the Borg Queen, like, vulnerable and having emotions.
Well, Borg Queen have emotions. She tried to talk data about emotions, about to have the biological parts of inside of her. Emotions are included. We only see an emotional person when he lose everything. You see the way the Borg Queen is the most vulnerable you see about her, but she still dangerous. She if she get any power that she just name it, she wants a ship, she wants legs, she wants everything Picard can give her. Why? Because with the ship she can go back to the Delta Quadrant and contact the Borg in there and come back and have Earth, that Earth killed her. This is a new motive to eliminate or assimilate Earth because
Or
mankind is
start a
very
new collective.
no, not a new collective. She has a collective already in that time. She simply needs to go back there, communicate, assimilate, and explain the new objectives to be Borg. Eliminate or assimilate Earth, because Earth is the only one who can really eliminate the Borg. Do you want a better reason for that?
Do you
In
think
that
we
perspective?
gonna see more time traveling in the season of Picard?
Well, the only time traveling I want to see in Picard is they coming back to 25th century and be happy like they were in the start of the season.
But I can imagine that Q will still cause for mayhem, and especially for Picard.
You have a lot to show yet. I'm quite sure of that.
Because I
You
think
see,
this isn't the last we hear of him.
yeah, you see, he he appeared in the La Sirena, and only Picard saw him. We will see he doing that uh, from each episode from now on. He loves that. If this is the last time we see Q, I hope the next Q don't be worse than him. Because if the Q are, yeah, if the Q are interested in the progress of mankind, because they know we can become Q in the next millennia, Well, I can't imagine a Q being sick or dying like they are talking about now. Maybe this was a new joke from Q to Picard, since Picard is old too.
Well, he always has said the trial never ends.
Well, the trial will never end because you can uh, keep looking for something that is potentially dangerous, like mankind just prove it to be, and keep it in the way so that never happened. In that case, I know that the judgment from the Q continuing to the earth is quite useful. It will keep us in the line. It's very useful. It gave us the Borg in the right time. It gave us a new perspective of life to Jean-Luc Picard himself, you know. And you see, John Delancey also said uh, the Borg and the Federation, or the Borg and the humans, are the two of the best friends of Q. Can you imagine that? He sees that like two excellent friends that don't like each other, and he needs to help them to make peace, or to learn from each other, even if they don't like each other. So
You know,
that is Q in working.
you know what really is strange to me as well? We know Picard is a synth. We
Yes,
see him
yes,
vulnerable, but we also
yes,
see him stronger in a way. And he is telling Q that he had it done and that he is too old for his games. But he is an adult because he has a golem now. So he's strong now. And he can live, now yeah, I don't want to say forever, but
Well, in the last season, Dr. Jurati and Dr. Soon promised him that he will be a very normal body. He can't access his own components like Data uses to do. He will age normally. Uh, his skin will react normally. They promised that he's a synth, but it's more a human being mind, and that needs to be synchronized with his body so all can function correctly. If this synth is just an artificial person, it's a full body prosthesis. So I don't see any change, uh, any significant change about what Picard can do as an android. They will not. I don't see they valorizing this unless something happens so so uh, so dangerous. Let's say if something rip on his arm, and then he see his components showing. Uh, I believe that there must be an internal programming that help him to deal with that. But I don't
mm,
think the scripts, the writers will do that. They have more things to have fun with, not techno, not technical, not technical things, but emotional things. That's what
mm,
they are.
Rios 7 and Ruffy beamed down to into the 24th century. They beamed down in a location that was like the ghettos of the city, and people were on the street. Do you remember that episode with of on Voyager that they were in the 50s and they had the same problems?
Yes, because the in Voyager they was searching for a captain who also traveled in time, and he didn't have any luck and ended in the ghetto with no homeless people. It seems that Los Angeles is very rich on this kind of poverty. So despite I like Los Angeles, I never have been there, and now I am afraid to go there.
Well, what I
It,
wanted to say is that really reminds me of that episode that, yeah, and I think it's also a reminder of our daily social problems now in this time. Like there is
well,
still poverty, there is still people who.
and you need also to take in consideration that Voyager came back to 86, or yes, 86, and they and the Picard came now for 2024, 2 years
Mm,
from now, and we see more people having fire. We see fires in the forests, and people going more poverty. You see, the, nothing is going better on the earth. On the contrary, something that will make the mankind the worst in the universe is about to happen. So that remembers that movie District 9. When you think the
mm,
first contact will be a very nice for mankind, and then you see suddenly you see mankind became the worst from each other, and that really makes me ashamed about that. I hope we can do better. I want we can do better. I want we can do things with hope. I desire so we can feel and do the best thing we can to have peace, to have um, progress, to have prosper, and then we can go to stars with a high head.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Um, I have a little other note, and sorry guys, but I really want to hear what Mark have to say about it. We all, of course, have seen the trailer of Strange New World, but
Yes.
they have recast Captain Kirk.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I have seen writers doing good things, like in Discovery. They forced it a lot in the first season, and to until now to the fourth season, they were struggling to make the Star Trek shine again with Discovery. I'm not saying I didn't like the first year. The first year was, for me, was stupendous, with many things, when many new concepts we needed to learn
Mm,
about.
mm,
It was nice for me. I liked it, but many people didn't. Many people prefer the old style Star Trek, and that's what they want to try again with Strange New Worlds. And Kirk appearing in that already seems like an anachronism. He was
mm.
not a captain. He was not a captain in the time
No,
of the Pike. He only got the captain insignia uh, when he got the ship.
yeah.
You know, promotions in Navy or Army are that are to follow these things, or you are transferred and you get a promotion, or you have a new function and you have a promotion like that, or you go by time. You are too much time in that post, you can be promoted if you deserve that. But in case of Kirk, I saw in the trailer as a captain already, so I need to wait for that show
I
to
thought they
start so
said
we can.
he will be a lieutenant commander of commander. Yeah, lieutenant commander.
Then commander, did you see the
Yeah, I
his
saw
post?
it. I saw it. I saw it.
Well, if he's still a commander, we can see that in an interesting way. And
But
in the sorry, in the Star Trek, the original series, we see that Kirk didn't know Captain Pike when Spock
mm-hmm.
started to talk about him. And if he had much contact with Pike in this series, that will be another anachronism. they will
Yeah.
need to deal with.
They say also that Strange New World will be will be the series that will repair the canon timeline.
Okay, so let's hope that Strange New Worlds don't become a strange new series.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say about it was also that I don't know if you have ever seen it, that Jim Carrey played Kirk, but then in a comical way. But
Yes, I saw it. Even William Shatner saw that too, and
yeah,
spoke
and
about it.
what I want to say is that the Kirk they have recast for Strange New World looks a lot of Jim Carrey's Kirk.
Yes, it will be very interesting. We can't
Yeah,
wait to we can't wait to show that to see that. I really can't wait to start watching this.
yeah, we have a lot to watch.
Oh yeah, Star Trek,
So
Strange New Worlds will start.
yeah,
Uh,
I had a airing thingy for it. So but okay, it doesn't matter. Um,
mm,
is there something you'd like to add on these two episodes?
okay, Star Trek Strange New Worlds starts in 45 days.
Hmm.
So we will be there together commenting and watching everything. About Picard, we are in the middle of the trip, but there are already good surprises on it and bad surprises too. We lost Elnor. Jurati is much more talented than she appears to be.
She was kick-assing good.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone have uh, his own scene to work there better. Except Rios that he's struggling a lot. Rios appears too in the trailers inside a bus that transport prisoners,
Hmm.
and, and I
That
see
will still
that.
come.
Yeah, I believe we will see that in the next episode. So this is the moment when Seven and Rafi find Rios,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
let's see if he's finally get his combat back, because that doctor simply didn't want to give it to him, and he forgot that in the hospital,
Hmm.
that clinic. So
Yeah.
we have lots to see.
One more last thing. What do
Yes,
you think of the Stargazer Bridge?
the Stargazer Bridge is wonderful.
I loved it too.
As Picard said, every time they made a new ship, this they made her more comfy, more brilliant, more practical, more and more and more and more and more Michael Okuda and more iPhone. We will be in the 31st century, more like Discovery after the refit. You can see, um, you will be able to see programmable matter.
Hmm.
Can you dream about that?
Yeah.
Those com badges you can use like personal transporters. So each time they make a new ship, uh, for me it's a new chance to celebrate. We are doing progress. We are doing better and better and better.
You know what I also have the feeling with is all the new uniforms. It's like they are searching again in what way, what do they how to see and the uniforms of, because it was like in the first season of TOS. Yes.
The new uniforms of Picard are evolution from the first season, and those uniforms were another evolution from um, what, maybe another evolution from Star Trek Online, the first uniforms,
Hmm.
until they personalize every uniform and make that.
But I've also meant in, if you see in Discovery,
Hmm.
it's changing a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
I I simply am not used to that. Of course, if we had replicators of matter, we can use a uniform each week. We can change the uniform a week, so you don't spend any money to make a new one, and you can wear a new one in seconds. But until we we keep an image of a Starfleet with a uniform, with a code to be following, more and to be more worried about the character of each crew member. I believe that is the goal. It's not to keep our identification in our uniforms, but in our character, in our laws, in our objectives. That was Starfleet should be, not something like uniforms.
Do you think that's also part of creating a new Star Trek? Not in a
Oh,
way of a new series, but as Star Trek as a concept.
yeah, they are. It's exactly what I said. Star Trek is not about uniforms. It's not about starships. It's about mankind evolving and making everyone to evolve together. You know, if we can define with that goal, if you can if you can take and say with proud, we are Starfleet, just because of that. If you say, if I go to the streets and say, good morning, I am Starfleet, no one will understand that, you know. But we try to do that with Star Trek. If you go to Star Trek and you say, I am Starfleet, they will see in you your standards, not you only. They will see you, your standards, your objectives, and what you stand for. I believe that is the main thing, the main goal they are trying to imprint now with us.
I think Rios and Rafi are great examples of that.
Yeah, but even so, they have bad times, and you see, they always despite the bad times, they come back and keep being Starfleet. Rafi is suffering a lot, but I have hope she come back and be Starfleet again. She was completely lost in the first season of Picard because of her own traumas and because of what the Romulans did. But she, after Picard, she refound her hope. He found her strengths inside the regulament, the rules, and the ideals of Starfleet. And look at her; she's a commander back in Starfleet. So I sincerely hope when this season ends, everything is back in place, including Eldor.
Well, Mark, thank you for this lovely conversation. And it was nice talking to you about Star Trek again.
Same here. I hope everybody who is listening to us enjoy that. And we have lots of talk about Star Trek anytime you want.
Alright. Well, guys, I will see you next time. Live long and prosper.